Hello to the side and back. What? Rarely do I ever actually mess up when it comes to my intro. And I just heard like a random, I don't know, accent come out. I can't. I have to move on from it though, and I'm keeping that in the video because that was funny. But my name is Toki Kuzuru, also known as Toki, and in today's video we are actually going to be talking about sleeping problems and the different ways that you can solve said problems. But before we get into the topic of today's video, I would like to point out that I'm right now speaking about sleeping problems while I am drinking green tea. And if you know, green tea has some sort of level of caffeine, and yes, it could actually affect the way that you sleep. And it also depends on how your body reacts to caffeine. Now, there are many different types of sleeping problems, and with that many types of sleeping problems, there are many different remedies or solutions for said problems. So the first step into figuring out whether you actually should be using magic in this sense for said sleeping problems is going through a checklist. And the checklist is basically trying to figure out exactly what type of sleeping problem you have, as well as going through all of the physical or mental things that might be keeping you from actually sleeping. Because as much as we want to try to blame some sort of unseen entity keeping us from sleeping, it might just be our own doing on why we can't sleep. For example, if your problem is that you can't stay asleep and right before you go to bed you end up drinking, like, let's say, I don't know, 2-3 cups of water right before you go to bed, so you end up waking up at least like 1 to 3 times in the night just having to go to the bathroom. So the first step here is to actually figure out whether there are physical or mental blockages keeping you from sleeping. It could be the caffeine, it could be the blue light. However, we're not going to talk about any of that because I am not I don't have the required documents. However, we're not going to talk about any of those things because I don't have the licenses, the degrees, or anything that shows that I'm a professional in the medical field. So take everything that I'm saying with a decent amount of salt, because I'm not a health professional. I feel like if you are having sleeping problems, you should go figure out whether it's a physical or mental thing by going to actual health professionals for it. And once you actually do that, we can get on to the mystical, magical, and metaphysical remedies to help with falling asleep. Now, these specific remedies are things that I do, and because of the fact that I've always had to deal with nightmares or bad dreams waking me up in the middle of the night, making me even more scared of the dark, I get very extra and very serious when it comes to setting my sleeping area. So everything that I'm talking about in this specific video, you don't have to do. But we'll just start with the basic foundation. That is cleansing and protecting your space. Now, I did previously do a video on how you can choose, cleanse, and protect your sacred space. And if you have made your room, the same room that you sleep in, your sacred space, then you're already having to cleanse and protect regularly. However, if you have not made your sleeping room your sacred space, then clearing, cleansing, and protecting is a must if you're having sleeping problems, and it has to deal more with like paranormal happenings when it comes to you waking up in the middle of the night, or like just not being able to fall asleep. Things that you can also do while you're cleansing and protecting your sleeping area or sacred space is actually washing your sheets. So while you're washing your sheets, you can go ahead and use the same cleansing spray that I was talking about in my Choose, Cleanse, and Protect Your Sacred Space video. And you can also, to try to help with, I don't know, getting rid of any type of unwanted energy, cleanse yourself. Shower cleansing. Or if you have the ability and the resources and the energy, a ritual bath. Personally, I do cleansing showers because it's a lot easier for me to get ready for that, and it's less time consuming overall. And depending on your energy level or like the tools that you have to be able to use for this, for like any type of magical thing, you could stop right here. But as I have stated, I am a bit extra when it comes to sleeping and making sure that I have a good night's rest. So here's some extra things that I personally do that you might want to think about. Number one is in actually protecting and enchanting both your bed and your bed sheets, your pillows, and if you have any stuffed animals. Think about it. Depending on the type of person you are, and I know the type of person I am, you probably have like a stuffed animal or something that you sleep with. Maybe it's a body pillow. You can also do that with body pillows. But you can go ahead and have your little stuffed buddies actually help with protecting you while you're sleeping. So whether that be spraying them with a protection spray that you end up making, I might make a video on that, or whether that means putting some sort of essential oil that is body safe and actually material safe that happens to deal with protecting onto or into your little sleeping buddy, your little stuffed sleeping buddy. If you have the ability to sew and like mend, you can also put like protection satchels or papers with protection sigils directly into your stuffed animals to go ahead and boost the enchantment of them protecting you while you're sleeping. Okay, but maybe you have a bit more of a less childlike taste when it comes to sleeping. Maybe you do have something like a body pillow, or maybe you're probably just one of those people that don't have either a body pillow or stuffed animals. There's still a lot of things that you can do. As I stated, you can go ahead and enchant your pillows and your pillowcases with the intent of making sure that you can fall asleep, stay asleep, and are protected when it comes to you sleeping. Now, one of the things that I specifically do as like an added bonus when it comes to enchanting my pillows to make sure that I'm able to sleep and be protected while I'm sleeping is I put a slab of rose quartz in my pillow, the one that I specifically put my head on. However, I know that it's personally difficult to be able to obtain crystals because sometimes it can get expensive. So, in place of the crystals, you can go ahead and grab like sea glass you can get from the dollar store. Cleanse it first, and then you can go ahead and charge it or enchant it with the intention of being similar to rose quartz, or by helping you fall asleep, stay asleep, or be protected while you're sleeping. But if all else fails, you can also grab any type of rock that catches your eye. One, make sure that you ask the earth for it first. Two, make sure you get a clear sign of a yes. Three, make sure that you clean it, because we just cleaned sheets and you do not want to get dirt on clean sheets. But also, you don't want to attract ants. We've already established this one. But of course, I am very serious when it comes to making sure my room has just the right type of atmosphere when it comes to me sleeping. So there's more. Now, these last two things I want to talk about when it comes to me making sure that my sleeping area is ready for me to sleep kind of coincides with each other. And those two things would actually be scents and candles. Now, aromatherapy has always been a very helpful thing when it comes to setting the mood, setting the tone, setting the atmosphere that you want in a specific room. So for burning purposes, or if you're able to burn things in your room, you can go ahead and use things like incense, loose herbs. Just make sure you burn them in a cauldron, so it's like, make sure you burn them in an iron cauldron, so it's like fire safety. But for those who can't burn things, you can also use things like oil diffusers, or for a cheaper alternative, scent sprays or room sprays. So we all hear about lavender being used to go ahead and calm people, relax you or calm you down. And the same thing can happen with chamomile flowers. But there are also jasmine flowers, if all else fails, rose scents or eucalyptus, tea tree, peppermint. These are some of the scents that you can go ahead and use when it comes to setting the atmosphere through aromatherapy. Let's say you're more of a candle person. You personally like reading by candlelight before you go to bed. You can also add in the aromatherapy asset of with the candles, but it doesn't have to be in conjunction. Now, of course, you can go ahead and try to spend buku bucks on large candles that might actually be able to last you, depending on how much you burn your own candles. But I ended up getting this candle that's supposed to be promoting rest from Five Below. So, and the two main scents in this candle are actually white sage and lavender. Now, although I have stated that the whole white sage debacle thing, we who do not practice the native spiritual practice should not be using white sage. But I do like the lavender aspect in this candle. Just remember, as per fire safety, fire hazards, please make sure that you snuff out your candles before you actually go to bed. Or if you do still want the atmosphere of sleeping with candles lit, there are actually electronic candles that you can use. And you can keep them on all night and they won't be a fire hazard. Or won't actually cause a fire. But that is all of the things that I typically do when it comes to setting my room for resetting my room when it comes to me sleeping, and making sure that I fall asleep, stay asleep, and am protected from anything that tries to attack me while I am asleep. Of course, this is only supposed to assist whatever else you are specifically doing physically or mentally to help you with falling asleep and staying asleep. And as I stated earlier in this video, you should always talk to a health professional when it comes to sleeping problems, because it could be something physical or mental that they can help you with. And that is all for today's video. That seems more like an oxymoron because I am drinking green tea while I am talking about having sleeping problems. And just remember that 1, these are all just suggestions. 2, these are all things that I personally do to go ahead and keep myself safe when sleeping, spiritually protected when sleeping, and that you don't have to do all of the things that I've listed in this video because not everybody has the resources or the energy to be doing it. Please do your own research when it comes to these things. This is just to help you start with that research and how to add in all of the different correspondences when it comes to things like smells or crystals or just working on being able to manipulate your own energy. And with all that being said, it is time for me to do the stereotypical YouTuber outro, where I, as a stereotypical YouTuber, would ask you to do the following. If you liked this video or found it very informational, you can go ahead and press the like button. If you want to see more videos that happen to deal with magical, metaphysical, paranormal, or otherwise occultist things, or where I talk about my personal nature-based spiritual path that I classify as witchcraft, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to be notified of whenever I post. If you are so inclined to give me any type of feedback, whether that be questions, comments, or concerns, or more ideas for future videos that you will want to go ahead and see on this channel, you can put all of that in the comment section below. And also tell me whether you would actually want to be classified as an occultist in training, because that's what we're working with. There are a lot of things that you don't see in my video and in my videos, and one of them, at least for this one, is just me messing with the material on Peep-A-Two. It is a similar material to any of the Squishmallows, and if you're a person that is obsessed with the Squishmallows, you would understand the reason why I am now obsessed with this material. The child in me wants to go ahead and stop recording, so we'll go ahead and end this video by saying, I've been Toki Uzuru, aka Toki, and this is Toki saying Toki out.